Now let us deal about the concept of liberalization. What is the meaning of the word liberalization? Generally we have a word meaning liberal. Liberal means giving free hand. For whom we are going to give a free hand? The free hand what we are going to give is the liberalization of the foreign companies, for the foreign investments, what we are going to call the concept of globalization. Because of globalization, the maximum benefit what we are going to get is the inflow of the foreign currency into our nation. So the liberalization policies have made many of the foreign companies to invest in the other nations. When it comes to the investment, a huge investment can change the fate of a nation. And at the same time, when we are investing here, we have many barriers also. We have many restrictions also. We have heard the word like tax. The tax on the imports. When we are keeping more tax on the imports, this leads to a barrier for them. They don't bring the products to us because they need to pay more amount of tax. Automatically the cost of the product will be increasing. That leads to the negative results for us. For example, on China products, we don't have any tax implemented, just only 10%, like 5 to 10% we have only the tax. But at the same time, if you increase it for 20 to 30%, the extra amount of 10 to 30 is going to be an additional advantage for the person who is selling it, but at the same time it is negative for the consumers who are buying it. Automatically it leads to the increase of the cost of the product. Then the people those who are buying the product will never be interested to take the product. So tax is a barrier for liberalization of the imports and exports. At the same time, when it comes to liberalization of foreign policy, Indians in 1950 to 60, that is in the initial periods of our independence, gave liberalization only for few products like petrol, fertilizers and foods and seeds, because that is a moment or the key time when the industries are getting developed or transformed in the Indian scenario, and the first term plan and second term plans are going on, especially with the motto of developing our own industries like Tata Steel Industries and our Rourkela steel plant, all these things. So to block them, to give a boom to the Indian industries, initially Indian government did not allow the free hand for the liberalization policy on the foreign investments during the 1950s and 60s. Later in 1990s and in 1991 exactly, they brought the free liberalization hand policies for the foreign countries to invest in the Indian lands and to have the free hand over the issues. When it is brought in 1990s, many of the foreign companies started to invest in India, and at the same time many of the Indian companies also got a boom to get investments in the other nations, because once we don't have the tax barriers on the other barriers against it, we can get a free flow of money. And during this period 1990s, we need the economic recovery at a very high level or high point of time. That made the finance minister and the government of India during that period to think over the issue of getting the transformation, the liberalization policy. The entire world is getting liberalized into a one form or one unit. So definitely we also have to take a move towards that. Then only we can be in the race, otherwise you would be out of the race. This forced the government to take the liberalization policy in 1991 and open doors for the open market policy. This led them to get the investments from the other countries. In 1991 we got many of the investments. At the same time, we have an important issue to be discussed here, that is that which factors are going to influence the main key concepts of liberalization, or like what are the main crucial things which are going to get the investments.